Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And today it's the Tutorial Tuesday. So I was asked to make this die by the store, which is DIYARTBIN store. I'm just going to grab it. So I was hacking it up into pieces. So it's now a bag of bits. And what it is a little duck with a little boy or girl, it's whatever which you want. And it's in a raincoat and they're wearing welly boots. And just to show you how organised I am today, 5 stars for me, I'll move that out of the way and I've done my die cutting. So those are the colours and that's the arrangement of the characters on the site. They're kind of standing and each of them has a leg kicking in the air. Now there's certain holes which are for eyes, and so I've got 2 lots of beads here. I've got my 1.5mm flat backs and I've also got my 4mm flat backs, and I haven't decided which are going where yet, but I've got both of those. If I change my mind, I'll just cut cardstock, and I have also cut a base for the card and done the card because I used some of my little birdie pearl drops here which dries clear, and I wanted them standing and splashing in a puddle, so I had to do this beforehand to make sure that it was dry. But it's this one and it's called Jade Isle, so that's the name of that one. Sorry, I just went off camera. So I've done my base and I've hand cut it. I haven't used a die, and there's a reason for that, and I will show you that right at the end. So first of all, we need to put our little character together, and you can see the arrangement that I've got, which is going to make it super easy, I hope. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the hair to the head, and I'm going to try and stay in camera while I'm doing all this. And I'm going to use my lovely needle tip bottle, which is from AliExpress. I try to use everything either from AliExpress or Dollar Tree, unless it's something that you can't get from there, and then you have to go hunting for the best price. Right, so I've got the hair onto the head there and I'm picking it up, and I just need to slide it up fractionally and over fractionally to make sure that you're hiding the pink bit of the face. Right, that's pretty cool. So I've got that, and let's see, there we go, and that is what that bit looks like. Now, wearing a raincoat, so I'm just going to shake those pockets off for a minute, and that needs to go behind here. So it needs to be positioned in a way that you've got enough area to put glue, but for the face still to be peeking through. Now when I do stuff like this, I don't put the glue to the head, I put the glue around the outside, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here, because then it will just grab as much of the hair and face as I want to give it. So I'm just doing it right on the edge. And as always, you can always see more than I can, so I just hope this is going down straight, and it isn't. Can you see I've got a gap there? That means I've got to move it along slightly before my glue dries. There, I think I've got it. Right. Now on the hat there is an orange beak, and I'm going to pick that bit up and just pop that there for a second, because it's got to have its orange beak popped on its hat. Just position that, and now we've got that. You can see just how super quick and easy this one actually is. So we've managed to achieve that already. And now I've got little legs, and the longest leg, I'm going to move this up, is the one that's here, and the shortest leg is the one that's going to kick out here. I will pop this back onto white cardstock in a minute. I just need to finish gluing it. So I'm going to pop that one just there. So right, the cardstock is slightly lifted because I've got the face underneath. So that's kind of like dimensionally lifting it for a bit. And I hope that I'm kind of like true to the website here. So I've just slid those under and I'm going to press down, and now they are stuck to that raincoat. So hopefully I did that in the correct position. And then I've got the little Wellington boots here, and I've got another Wellington boot that goes there. I mean, quite literally, this character looks like it's singing and dancing in the rain. I won't start singing that, I promise you. Or grabbing an umbrella. Right, so we're going to pop that little boot on, and then we're going to pop that little boot on. So maybe need to move that one down a little bit. There we go. Right, so what I'm going to do is, you've seen how I've done that bit, so I just want to quickly glue on the hands and the pockets, and I'll be straight back. Okay, so the hands and the pockets are on, and the little boots are on, and this character does have a little bit of blush on its cheek. So I'm using one of these blending sticks, and I'm going to choose a colour out of my little blush palette here, and I'm going to go for this one. These are Jane Davenport's, and you only need to use ever such a small amount. I've got a sheet of white cardstock here, and if I put that down, you can see just how strong that is. So basically, you just go down until you feel that you're going to get a colour that you're going to feel safe with. And it's easier to put less on and go back and add a little bit more than to, you know, make your character look embarrassed rather than having fun. So I've got a little bit there that I can just about see. It's very, very faint. That's why I said it's always nicer to blend your brush off and put a little bit on. And a little bit of blush on the face does add some great character. You can just about make it out. And I did know, looking at the site actually, that it was quite high up where the blush on the cheek area was. So I've done that, and all that's going to need in a minute is his flat backs. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to grab my duck that's got a little necklace on it. I might put some sparkles on that little tiny necklace. And this is really, really tiny, its legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick its beak on and then put the other bits on, because you won't really see me doing that. And I'll plonk it onto white cardstock again, and I'll come straight back. So I've glued his little collar on and his tiny little legs, and you wouldn't really know they were there unless I'd put that bead of glue at the bottom, which is what I've just done. So I know that I need him to stand up straight, so I'm just going to position him on a line where I can see him, and I'm just going to pop that little boot down, and then this one is kicking up in the air like the little girl or boy there. So those are stuck down, and hopefully you can see that now a little bit better. These need to dry, so I'm going to give that a couple of minutes, and then I can transfer it onto the white cardstock so that you can see it better. Okay, that's dry, and I've decided I'm going to go with the 1.5mm flatbacks which are in there, and I've scattered a few onto my paper so that you can see them, and I'm going to attach those with a little bit of glue and foam pads from Dollar Tree. And to do that, this is what I do. I arrange my foam pads. Oops. I mean, this is going to be 3-dimensional on the card, but what you want to do is you don't want to see any of your foam pads sticking out, but obviously we need to go across those holes so that It's going to help hold everything in place when we turn it over, and I hope that covers that. Yes, it does. And then I'm going to have to cut just a thin strip and try and squeeze it into that hat area. So I'm just going to turn that over. I think it needs to be in two parts, otherwise I might end up with a bit of foam sticking out. So I'm going to go there for that one, and then manipulate my foam and push that in there for that one. Right, I should be able to just turn that over now. All of these areas obviously are now sticky, and I'm going to use my pickup tool, and I really do hope you can see, and I'm just going to drop down the 1.5mm flat backs here into those holes, and the stickiness of the foam behind is going to hold the eye there, so I won't need to use any glue. You would have to use glue if the holes were really tiny, like on the duck here. I think I may have to use some glue, but I think for the buttons and everything, these are just going to slot in to the aperture. Go down with that one. Aren't pickup tools just glorious? Could you imagine doing this with just your fingers? I couldn't. I just couldn't do it at all. I really do admire people that can do tiny things, and sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't get my whoops, pick that up again. Shouldn't get my magnifying glass out on the table to help me to see some of the things a little bit better. There we go. Push those in, and I can hold that up for you. So it's got nice shiny little dimensional buttons on the coat. The eyes, I'm going to get some clarity to my camera in a minute. There we go. Is that going to do it? Yeah. I just think it gives them better personality than having something flat. And I might get my sparkly pen actually in a bit and go around those pockets. But what I'm going to do now is grab my little duck and spin him around, make him dizzy. And I know that I'm going to need some glue, but at the same time, he's going to be dimensional. So I'm just going to see if this piece of scrap foam pad that I've got in my hand here will fit in there without being on show. And it's not, so I'm going to have to trim it. There. So I know at least part of the eyes are sticky. Oops. Put that little piece down there. I will put some more across there in a minute. But what I need to know is, will they require glue? So back to my pickup tool. Yeah. So this is what I do. I use that now as the well, just to pop my dots of glue in there. And this means that I've got to pop that in and let it dry and make sure I've got them in the right place. I think that's correct. Eyes are funny things. If you don't position them correctly, they completely change the character of what you're doing. Just by moving eyes, you can make something look happy or really mean. Right, I'm going to let that dry and I'll be back. Right, so my duck is nearly dry, but I've decided I'm going to have my little characters in that position that you just saw. And I'm just going to peel off the backs of the foam tape and stick them down. Right. So it's sort of like a leg in the air, a foot in the puddle. Just compose them. There we go. You can see foot in the puddle, leg in the air, and I kind of like the duck in that region. And I'm just hoping, because you can see the glue is still a bit wet there, that when I flip it over, the eyes don't drop out. So very, very carefully I'm trying to take the back off my piece of tape. I've got a little bit on the body there. Whoops. So I want that sort of very much in the puddle. And of course, you know me, I don't use a sentiment because I gift everything. And I think that's something that, you know, they'd enjoy adding their own sentiment to. So there is the duck. Now, I did tell you I cut this by hand and I made it a particular size for a reason. And I'm now going to measure it for you and explain why. Right, so it is 4.5 inches and it is by 5.5 inches. So that is the full size of the card. Okay. Now, the reason I wanted it that size is because I handmade an envelope and I used a bit of my gold sparkle pen just around the edge, and that card will fit inside here once it's dry. So that is 5.5 inches by 4.5 inches that will fit inside that envelope. But I wanted to show you how I made it, and that is just simply this set of dies from Surprise Creation. These are the fancy edge square, and they do an in-out, so you're left with a decorative border around the aperture, and you've got a decorative border around the piece that cuts out, as you can see here. So what I decided to do was make a small one so that you can see what a little one looks like, and that's just a scrap piece of Easter paper, probably not the best quality for scoring. And then I've used the 5th one in, and I've die cut this one, and this is the one I'm going to show you so you can see just how quick and easy you can use this set of square dies, and you can make I think there's, hang on, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, there are 10 dies in there that you could make envelopes with. So that's 10 sizes, and then the 2 smaller ones in the middle, I would say stamp them up or something and use them as little envelope closures or seals. But I think that's awesome, and they step down in, let me quickly measure that so that you know, because you probably got this set already. They step down in just over 1/4 inch increments. So this one is the largest that I've done here, which will go with your 5.5, 4.5 card. And this one, I've got my sparkly pen here ready to do that. I'll just move it. So my little scoreboard from Tuesday morning, which I said was awesome because now I could use one and have it on the table. And this is all you have to do. Now, I've used a Sharpie fine liner, and I always mark in an inch, and then I mark what's, you know, going to be the final inch. This will do 6 inches, but I've marked it at the 5-inch mark so that I can always put things like this down and ensure that I get a straight line. Now, looking at the shape of that, when I turn it this way, you want to be able to score across here. So I'm going to do this slowly so that if you've got this set, you can freeze it and see exactly what I'm doing here. So I've got that little decorative point just over the edge and the same there, and I'm just going to score that straight down. See that? And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So that you've got those bits there. Now, for doing the folding side flaps, you're only going to go from this score point to this score point. So get that up nice and straight, and that's why I put these marks down onto my scoreboard so that I can see exactly what I'm doing. So we've just gone along there. I'm trying to take my time so that you can see. And now we've gone along there. So that is what your fancy square should look like. And then, of course, it's just a matter of folding it in. Just fold along your score lines. That's all you have to do. Use some wet glue to stick it down. Or if you've got a tape runner, use one of those. But at this size, as you can see, it's really pretty. This will fit a gift card, and this is the 5th one in from the largest. And if I measure the finished size of this, it's just over 3 3/4. It's almost 4 inches by 3 inches. So that's how big the 5th one in is. So I just wanted to share that with you. So, right, digression and all that. So I've shown you how you score that using that fancy set of squares. And you know me, always watching the clock on a Tuesday. And I've done the gorgeous little cards there for DIY art bin. And we've got the envelope that will go with that. We've got the one that I've just scored that needs some glue on it. That's another one that's another size down, so you can see that. So, you know, for mini albums and things, going to be absolutely awesome to use your set like that. And I did get my little sparkle pen out because I wanted to do a little bit of gold sparkling around the boots and stuff. So I'm just going to do exactly that. Just a little bit of gold. Sort of highlighting the idea of the rain. Yeah, I like that. Sparkle pens. These are, which one is this? Uniball Signo. And they're absolutely awesome. I think probably the best sparkle pen on the market. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you have a look, you can see just how pretty that looks going into that little puddle of water, and the ducky as well. See the little reflection on his little duck boots. But I just think that's really, really cute. Right, so that was the tutorial. A little bit of paper piecing and showing how to turn that set of fancy square dies into what you could create 10 envelopes, 10 different sizes of envelope. Right, you have an absolutely awesome day, and I am going to be up tomorrow with MX Art. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.